forgetting having to endure a series of giant egos from the back. Well, that's the life of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the man who turned war into art and politics into a giant game of chess. But don't think for a moment that he is a strict, scowling leader. Eisenhower was a master of composure who could make you laugh in the middle of a war movie with just a meaningful smirk. He not only defeated Hitler, but also built a modern America with highways. That's right, the highway, but not just for going out, but also for defending against Soviet nukes. So what makes Eisenhower both a legendary general and a president that Americans still remember? And how did a simple man who loved golf and hated war become a symbol of leadership in times of both war and peace? Let's explore in today's video. Welcome to Faces of History. Here we uncover fascinating stories from the past and dive into the lives of legendary figures who shaped the course of world history. If you're passionate about history and the incredible journeys of those who made it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Let's embark on this inspiring journey through time together. Dwight D. Eisenhower's illustrious military career. Dwight D. Eisenhower began his military career in an unremarkable way. He is not the type of childhood hero that legendary stories often paint him as. In fact, during his first 16 years in the Army, Eisenhower only did desk jobs, far away from the battlefield. However, who would have thought that this office soldier would later command one of the most important military campaigns in human history? The star shines late. The World War II period was a big stage for Eisenhower to shine. Appointed Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Allied powers in Europe, he was responsible for coordinating nations such as the United States, Great Britain, France, and Canada, each with its own perspective, a sort of team that everyone wants to be team leader. And Eisenhower's mission? How to make them all listen and not argue with each other. Eisenhower was famous for his extraordinary patience. He had to keep the peace between famous and extremely difficult-to-please generals like Bernard Montgomery, who always thought he was right, or George S. Patton, who always thought he was the best. But instead of arguing, Eisenhower chose to smile and quietly steer the ship of war to victory. Operation Overlord, the pinnacle of leadership. The pinnacle of Eisenhower's career was Operation Overlord, or as people often call it, D-Day. On June 6, 1944, Eisenhower commanded a massive force of more than 156,000 Allied soldiers to land on the coast of Normandy, France. The plan was so complicated that if the slightest mistake occurred, the entire operation could go down the drain. And you know the best thing? Before the campaign took place, Eisenhower had already written a letter, accepting responsibility if he failed. That's right, he was mentally prepared to bear all the blame. This is not only courage, but also amazing composure. Thanks to his genius leadership, Eisenhower not only succeeded with D-Day, but also led Allied forces deep into Europe, repelling the Nazis and liberating millions of people from brutal oppression. But even though he won the battle, Eisenhower never showed arrogance. He always reminded that war is never won, it is only a necessity. Some might say that Eisenhower's success was due to luck, that he was just in the right place at the right time. But in reality, he is not only a lucky person, but also someone who knows how to take advantage of his opportunities and skills. Eisenhower's patience, ability to handle conflicts, and strategic vision transformed him from a desk worker into a true military legend. The Cold War and the foreign policy of Dwight D. Eisenhower. After becoming president, Dwight D. Eisenhower no longer had to deal with dictators on the battlefield. Instead, he entered a much stranger war, the Cold War. This was not a bombs and bullets exploding in the sky kind of war, but more like a global chess game between the US and the Soviet Union, with the nuclear threat hanging over everyone. The big stick strategy, but with nuclear bombs. One of Eisenhower's most famous policies was nuclear deterrence, massive retaliation. Basic idea? If you dare to do anything, I will drop a nuclear bomb immediately. It may sound aggressive, but in reality, Eisenhower did not want to fight at all. He believed that the best way to prevent war was to make the enemy so afraid that he did not dare start a war. In other words, he turned America's nuclear arsenal into a giant stick to scare, but not actually use. End of the Korean War. One of Eisenhower's great successes was ending the Korean War. When he took office, this war had lasted 3 years and had exhausted the whole world. Eisenhower visited the battlefield, observed the situation, and quietly leaked information that America was ready to use nuclear weapons if things did not end quickly. Result? Both sides quickly agreed to sign an armistice. It seems no one wants to challenge a president willing to push the red button. Eisenhower Doctrine, anti-communism, Middle East style. Eisenhower wasn't just worried about Asia or Europe. He also focused on the Middle East with the Eisenhower Doctrine. Idea? Prevent the spread of communism in this region by promising military and economic support to any country that feels threatened by red. In reality, this is America's way of ensuring that oil keeps flowing to the factories and cars of the West. More strategic than ideal. U-2 scandal, spy exposed. However, not everything goes smoothly. An embarrassing event during Eisenhower's term was the U-2 affair. That's when the Soviet Union shot down an American spy plane and captured the pilot. When discovered, America initially denied everything. Like, who? Me? It's irrelevant. But when the Soviet Union presented evidence, Eisenhower had to admit this was a blow to his foreign policy and made US-Soviet relations even more tense. Peace is the goal, but not at any cost. Despite tensions with the Soviet Union, Eisenhower was not a warmonger. He always looked for opportunities to keep peace, as long as it did not come at the cost of America's safety. He once said, "I hate war as only soldiers who have experienced it understand." And indeed, Eisenhower was someone who clearly understood how cruel war was, so he never rushed to bring America into any conflict. Finally, Eisenhower had a unique leadership style. He often compares politics to golf, requiring a long-term strategy, patience, and an accurate shot at the right time. However, instead of just hitting the ball in the hole, Eisenhower got America through the tense years of the Cold War without a global war breaking out. Not a bad achievement for a golf-loving president. Dwight D. Eisenhower's political legacy as President of the United States. Dwight D. Eisenhower may have begun his political career as an outsider, a famous general who entered the White House without having to play politics to climb the ladder. But what's interesting is that this outsider left behind a profound political legacy, shaping America in ways that even veteran politicians would envy. Federal highway system, gift from the military. Let's start with what most Americans remember about Eisenhower, the interstate highway system. His idea was simple. If troops need to move quickly across the states, we need highways. So out of national security concerns, Eisenhower created a vast network of highways, making not only tanks but also cars, trucks, and family trips easier. But the funny thing is, he probably didn't expect that these roads would lead to traffic jams everywhere in the future. But that's okay because he left an interesting lesson. Sometimes doing the right thing does not mean avoiding unexpected consequences. NASA and the space race, from Sputnik to Americans on the moon. When the Soviet Union launched the Sputnik satellite in 1957, America panicked. Who wants to be watched from space? Eisenhower did not. He was as calm as if Sputnik was just a big balloon. But to calm public anxiety and save face with the Soviet Union, he founded NASA. Result? America not only kept up with the Soviet Union in the space race, but also went further with the mission of sending people to the moon. Of course, Eisenhower did not live long enough to witness this great moment, but it all started with his composure and foresight. Eisenhower Doctrine. Don't let communism spread. During the Cold War, Eisenhower did not believe in selling your soul to keep the peace. He introduced the Eisenhower Doctrine, in which America would help any country that felt threatened by communism. It sounds generous, but in fact, this is also a way to maintain America's strategic interests, especially in hot areas like the Middle East. Who says keeping peace can't keep oil? Civil rights movement, slow but not ignored. Another aspect of Eisenhower's legacy is his handling of the civil rights movement. Eisenhower was not the type of leader who pioneered the dismantling of racism, but he also did not sit still. When black students were blocked from entering Little Rock High School, he did the unprecedented, deploying federal guards to ensure the law was enforced. However, he is still criticized for being too slow in supporting equal rights. But perhaps Eisenhower chose slowly but surely, instead of pushing society into more violent conflict. One of Eisenhower's most impressive legacies came at the end of his term, his farewell speech. In it, he warned Americans about the excessive development of the military-industrial complex. That is, close cooperation between the military and arms-producing corporations. This is a sharp reminder of the danger of war becoming a giant business. Many people still consider this one of the greatest speeches in American presidential history. Eisenhower was not a president with explosive speeches or controversial reforms, but he left a legacy as a leader who was calm, effective, and never let his emotions get the best of him. He focused on big things, like building roads, putting America on the map, and keeping the peace in a time of global tension. Dwight D. Eisenhower's leadership style and political philosophy. Dwight D. Eisenhower was not the type of leader to be loud, boisterous, or speak eloquently in front of a crowd. He is a quiet but effective person, the kind of unsung hero in the office, who believes that doing more than talking is the best way to lead. But make no mistake, Eisenhower's silence does not mean a lack of sharpness. On the contrary, that was his strategy. Eisenhower was famous for his ability to manage strong and difficult personalities. During World War II, he dealt with generals like Bernard Montgomery, who thought he was the center of the universe, and George Patton, who probably thought he was the universe. Eisenhower's secret? He let them argue, listened to their opinions, but always had a way of making them believe they had won, when in fact, he was the one who decided. This approach is not passivity, but the art of leading. Eisenhower understood that no one likes to be ordered around, but everyone likes to feel that their ideas are respected. This is why he can keep the peace in tense meetings and persuade people to follow his plan without causing conflict. In politics, Eisenhower always had a long-term vision. He does not like impulsive decisions or risky gambles. Instead, he views politics as a game of chess, where each move needs to be carefully calculated. For example, during the Cold War, Eisenhower was in no hurry to escalate tensions with the Soviet Union. He chose to use the strategy of nuclear deterrence to keep the peace, not because he wanted to use bombs, but because he knew that, as long as he scared the opponent enough to not dare to act, everything would happen. Will go smoothly. A prominent feature of Eisenhower's leadership style was his composure. He never let emotions influence his decisions. Whether it was facing the tensions of the Cold War or dealing with internal crises, Eisenhower always kept a straight face, like, everything is under control. His famous quote, "Those who cannot control their anger cannot control anything else," is a testament to his leadership philosophy. He believes that a good leader must be one who remains calm when everyone else is panicking. Dwight D. Eisenhower was not just a talented general or a calm president. He was a symbol of intelligent and effective leadership in turbulent times. From the battlefields of World War II to the intense battles of the Cold War, Eisenhower always maintained his composure and long-term vision, laying the foundation for a modern America. Even though he is not a perfect leader, because who can be perfect, right? But his legacy endures. A great highway network, an ambitious space program, and profound lessons on how to keep the peace in a time of global tension. Remember, history is not just stories of victories and defeats, but also lessons we can apply to the present and the future. So what do you think about Dwight D. Eisenhower? Are you an ideal leadership role model? Please leave your opinion in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next exciting stories about the characters who changed world history. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.